tap dance. Kid says fuck off, and I have to think, what skills do I have? I could say, if I were a humanist, I'd say, "Ooh, I can see you're very upset," as I show him open body language and move backwards, like the gorilla turning around, you know. I'm undefended. I'm not a threat. So I say, "I can see you're really upset." Or if I was an authoritarian person, I might say, "Look, I don't speak to you that way, and I don't think you've got a right to speak to me like that. If you do that again, you're out the door." Or I might say, "Look, I don't know if that language is appropriate. I'll have that. I wanted the class to talk about that in terms of rights and responsibilities, so let's have a discussion." Or whatever. They're skills. That's just a skill level. Or I could say, "You're a lovely kid, but if you do that again, I'll break your arm." So you can say whatever you like, but they're just skills. Now, let's see what skills you have. Let's go. Yeah. No, well, I did. This time fair dinkum. Once I did this with a ceiling fan, so I always check. I think it's safe. Yeah, try it. I towards this end a bit more. That makes you lower. Go on, go for it. Go. Tap dance. Oh, very good. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay. By the way, now I should get 5 more volunteers. Easy. Easy. Because he's taken a lot of the thread out of it. So once you've been through something once, the perceived stakes reduce. If you could go through it 100 times, if I could put you in front of a kid who kept telling you to go away and have relationships, you would see that as a 3 out of 100 instead of an 80 out of 100. And if you worked in the island or one of these sort of places, it's not going to worry you at all, an annex or something. So that's why I'm going to spend a whole day talking about, 2 days probably, talking about skills. Because the next stage of this, once you get through what do, the question is, how do I do it skillfully? Something. But that's not the end of the story. And if I had a tap dancer, I could probably talk about level 3, but I don't have one, so I can't get there. Who's most likely to tap dance well out of you lot? You're a dancer, right? You're a dancer? You're a dancer. You might be able to answer this. Now, you're a dancer, yeah?
I used to be, yes.
Okay, good. If I asked you now to come and tap dance, which I won't, what would you be thinking?
What you want me to actually do, what sort of taps you want me to do.
Why would you be thinking that? You're already a level 3, by the way, because you're not thinking about you, you're thinking about me. You're thinking about the audience, but you've got me as the audience, not them. Had you said that's level 3. Had you said, I wonder what they'd be most entertained by, level 3. So you've got it. Level 3 is the client level. Actually, do anyone really have a burning desire now to actually do it again, other than him? Otherwise you can sit down. Okay. I'll meet you later. Okay, so sit down, you can relax and take notes, because level 3 is client level. When that kid says F off, and I can do this, this, this or this, which one is going to be best for him? That's client level. That's when you're operating out of the needs of the client. What's best for the client? What's best for the kids? So if I say rights and responsibilities and someone else says rules, the first thing you're going to worry about is, can I represent that? And will people take me seriously? How do I do those? And which is best for the kids? If you get to the level. And yet, if you interview teachers, I've had students do this, it's not so uncommon that they're not at that client level. They're not operating necessarily at it. Like, there will be no talking during this exercise. And if someone asks me why, I wouldn't say because they'll learn more. I'd say because I can monitor it more easily. The fact is, it may be better for them to talk. According to our knowledge of understanding of how learning occurs, it may be better if they were to talk about it. But once they get rumbles in the classroom, it's hard to know what's this talk and what's that talk. So you'll do it on your own and you do it quietly. So I may often take on level 2 when I know I'm not meeting their needs. Sometimes I don't think about it, sometimes I actually don't want to. if you wanted to keep a person... Now, that's an interesting analysis, right? There is a fourth level for what it's worth. Anyone want to guess? I think there's even a fifth, I'm not sure, but fourth, above 3 there is. That much I can remember. Does anyone want to guess what it might be? Yeah, it's when you go outside your classroom and you think of schooling or systems of schooling. Should there be single-sex schools? Is national testing a good idea? These sorts of questions are at level 4. Not how do I set up a room for national testing, that's level 2. Do I think it's, is national testing good for my kids? Level 3. But once I'm thinking about the concept of national testing, single-sex schooling, or school-wide discipline policies, or an AIZ intervention. So it's broaden my classroom. Is such an intervention a good idea? Should I be here? Okay, that's level 4. Now, the problem with all of this is that the theory says that when teachers self-talk leads them to perceive a threat, like you did with the tap dancing, when your talk went from courageous to exhibitionist, or from cooperative to crazy, or whatever it was, the self-talk will determine how much threat. Because the threat's not in the activity, the threat's in how you construct the activity. It's not the activity per se. I mean, that's why some people are not upset by a kid telling them to F off, it's not a big deal. So it's not that that's a threat. It's not the behaviour that's threatening, it's how you construct that behaviour, what it means to you. Will the other kids see you as an idiot or incompetent or something? What are you saying to yourself? So that's the self-talk. Once the threat gets to a certain level, even if you were here, the theory says you regress to there. So if I will do whatever I have to do now to control that child, whatever. I'm not thinking what's good for the kid. I'm thinking what's going to protect me. And you can make mistakes, of course, because I think if I just yell at him and send him out and get him fixed, maybe I'll look like I'm tough. I don't know. Have to interview people to find out why they do it. But the fact is, frequently when people are doing things that are irrational or appear to be unproductive, they're at level 1. Most of the time you do something that you're unhappy about, you're at level 1, according to Fuller. So when you yell at your adolescent child and you know it's not helpful, you're at level 1. Then you've got to figure out what triggered you. The theorists would say, if you're into sort of anger management, let's look for the triggers. And if you're into rational motive therapy, they'd say, let's see what you're saying to yourself that makes that a trigger. So what the kid says, get out of my life. He wants some distance from you. What's threatening about a child distancing from you?
You've got more than one client, though.
That's right, and that's the other thing. You can have the client as individual or the group. Yeah, or maybe even parents. So yes, a good observation. So when we talk about client, it's really tricky a bit because there are a couple of clients here at least, aren't there? There's the individual child, and sometimes you'll sacrifice the child for the group, and then there's a group. And I suppose there's parents and stuff like that too. But once you get to principal, you're back at level 1 if you're worried about how they're going to assess you. But if you think what's best for the child or the group, it may be a problem because what's best for the group may not be best for the child. And that's always the way with D. D, what's best for the group is to have them out. What's best for the child is to strengthen their sense of belonging. How do you win that one? You can't. So you will send them out because the group has to prevail usually, but then you'll work with them enough to increase their sense of belonging so they may come back in and be productive. But yeah, it's a good observation. I'm glad you raised it. Okay, you see the logic? So that means that we've got to, if I could spend some time on level 2, it does make sense because the self-talk changes. I've had people who, after we've done simple stuff like, if the kid argues with you, just repeat yourself. Assertive stuff. We've done it, we've practiced it, we're going to practice it. And you're going to go, oh, I hate role plays, I don't want to do role plays. But the reality is, it's the best thing you can do with this stuff.